Who was Maurice Strong? If you've never heard his name, you're not alone. But this obscure Canadian figure might be one of the most influential people of the last century. Some call him the architect of the modern climate change movement, the man who put global warming on the world's political map. But was he a planet-saving visionary, or a master manipulator who turned green ideals into personal gold? Let's unravel the story of the man who arguably invented the climate change business. Maurice Strong wasn't just part of the environmental movement. For decades, he was its chief organizer. His journey starts way back in 1972, when he organized the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment in Stockholm. This was a landmark event, essentially the birth of UN-led global environmentalism. Out of that conference came the United Nations Environment Programme, or UNEP. And guess who became its first director? Maurice Strong. But he was just getting started. Fast forward 20 years to 1992. Strong is now the Secretary General of the massive Rio Earth Summit. This wasn't just another conference, it was a global spectacle that fundamentally shaped how we talk about the environment today. The Rio Summit gave birth to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the UNFCCC, which is the parent treaty for all major climate agreements, including the Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreement. He also co-chaired the commission that created the Earth Charter, a kind of 10 commandments for environmental ethics. He was the ultimate insider, a master of weaving together UN diplomacy with elite networks like the World Economic Forum and the Club of Rome. He even mentored a young Al Gore, inspiring his focus on climate change. Strong's signature phrase was sustainable development. It sounds great, right? A perfect blend of progress and planetary care. But what if the man selling this idea was also setting himself up to profit from it? This is where the story takes a fascinating turn. Strong's public service at the UN was often pro bono, meaning he didn't take a salary. So how did he support himself? He was explicitly funded by his private business ventures. And what were those businesses? You might be surprised. Before he was a full-time environmental guru, Strong was a big player in the oil industry. He was even the chairman of Petro-Canada, one of Canada's largest oil companies. An oilman running the global green agenda? It sounds like a paradox, but for Strong it was just business. His model was simple but brilliant. Use his UN platform to create global environmental policies, then launch or lead companies that would profit from those very policies. He was playing both sides of the field. Let's look at the evidence. While championing water conservation at the UN, he was involved with a company called American Water Development Incorporated. This company got into hot water, no pun intended, for a controversial plan to pump a massive aquifer in Colorado and sell the water, a scheme that had farmers and local communities up in arms. He was also the chairman of Xenon Environmental, a leading water purification company. As global standards for water quality tightened, standards he helped promote, companies like Xenon saw their value skyrocket. Another one of his ventures was Technology Development Inc., which focused on environmental tech. See a pattern here. But the most direct link between his policymaking and his profits came with the rise of carbon markets. After the Kyoto Protocol, a direct descendant of his Rio Summit, created a global market for carbon credits, Strong was ready to cash in. He became a director and key figure in the China Carbon Corporation. Its business model? Brokering carbon trading deals, a market that wouldn't exist without the climate treaties he helped create. He was literally profiting from the system he built. His portfolio also included firms like Cosmos International and Strovest Holdings, all intertwined with his global network. He also served as chairman of CH2M Hill, a massive engineering firm that landed major contracts for green infrastructure projects worldwide. The more governments pushed for sustainable development, the more business flowed to companies connected to Maurice Strong. The controversies don't stop there. He was entrusted with land in Costa Rica, gifted to the Earth Council, an organization he founded. What did he do? He reportedly sold it for a personal profit of over $1.5 million. In that same country, one of his companies, Desarrollos Ecológicos, bypassed environmental and indigenous community approvals to build a multi-million-dollar luxury hotel inside a protected national wildlife refuge. It was a classic case of do as I say, not as I do. Even his reputation took a hit during the UN's infamous oil for food scandal. While he was eventually cleared of wrongdoing, his name was linked to the affair after he endorsed a check for nearly $1 million from a controversial businessman connected to Saddam Hussein's regime. So what's the final verdict on Maurice Strong? Was he a sincere environmentalist who happened to be a savvy businessman? Or was he a Machiavellian operator, as some critics called him, who saw climate alarmism as the greatest business opportunity of the 21st century? The truth is likely somewhere in the complex grey area between. He undoubtedly put environmental issues on the global stage like no one before him. He built the very architecture of international climate diplomacy that we live with today. But at the same time, his career shows a clear, undeniable pattern. Create the rules, then create the businesses that win the game. He was an oilman who became the world's top environmentalist, a public servant who became a private millionaire by riding the green wave he himself had set in motion. He mastered the art of using the moral authority of the United Nations to broker deals in the boardrooms of the world's most powerful corporations. He sold the world a vision of sustainable development, and in the process made sure his own development was very, very sustainable. The story of Maurice Strong is a powerful reminder that behind the grand pronouncements and global summits, we should always ask a simple question: who benefits? In the world of climate change, it's clear that one of the biggest beneficiaries was the man who helped invent it. It's a legacy that is both monumental and deeply controversial, and one that continues to shape our world in ways we are only just beginning to understand. Thanks for watching. If you found this deep dive interesting, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.